the very air thick with the smell of salt and burning timber, a symphony of screams rising from the waves. In the heart of this storm, a child's gaze met the abyss, bearing the weight of an empire. A final, heartbreaking embrace, a choice made in desperation, plunging into the cold, unforgiving depths below. Then, silence. Only the lapping waves remained, telling tales of unimaginable loss, an empire's last breath. Imagine, if you will, standing on the precipice, facing odds that would shatter the bravest of hearts. Odds so desperate, so utterly hopeless. Survival seemed not a hope, but a cruel, distant whisper. 10-1 against you. Can you truly grasp the chilling weight of such a desolate predicament? It wasn't just about facing your own end. It was something far, far more profound, more crushing. Imagine that your defeat didn't just mean your death, but the very erasure of all you knew. The absolute, crushing end of a legacy, a culture, built brick by precious brick across centuries, a magnificent, storied empire, spanning 300 years, now teetering on the very brink of oblivion. This is the story of Yamen. In 1279, a name etched into history's most tragic chapters, a monumental, tragic event, a naval storm, both literal and metaphorical, about to engulf everything. It was the moment an entire ancient dynasty was finally, irrevocably, erased from the world. This was not merely a battle. It was the final, desperate gasp of a fading giant. We journey back to an age where empires clashed with unimaginable fury, reshaping the very map. The Battle of Yamen, a tale of desperate courage, ultimate sacrifice, and the relentless tides of change. It's a story that makes us feel the weight of history, not just learn its cold, hard facts. How does a civilization face such an absolute end? What echoes remain of their final struggle? We'll delve deep into an epic, world-changing historical moment, feeling the heartbeat of the past. Understanding Yamen reveals not just an event, but the profound human spirit tested beyond measure. Join us as we uncover the why behind this monumental, tragic last breath of a dynasty. Once, a golden light graced these lands, a gentle reign of art, wisdom, quiet innovation. But even the brightest dawn must fade. A long shadow lengthens, whispering what once was. The song fostered quiet contemplation. Poetry flowed like rivers, beauty treasured. A gentle, deeply wise world. Ingenuity bloomed here, a quiet revolution. Science, thought, shaped the world in subtle, profound, gentle ways. Even within beauty, fractures emerge. Whispers of discord grew, slowly weakening the empire's core. Beyond borders, new winds stirred, carrying change's scent. A relentless pressure pressed ever closer, ominously. The proud song eagle, once soaring high, flew lower. Wings tired, its song a gentle lament now. The weight of centuries, expectations, pressed heavy. A silent, profound burden they carried, day by day. From wild, open steppes, a new force stirred, an implacable will destined to reshape the world. They rode like the wind, a storm on horseback. Their empire expanded with terrifying, unyielding speed. At their helm, Kublai Khan, a name whispered. A force of nature, relentless, unstoppable, he now ruled. From frozen plains to deserts, their dominion spread. An empire built on disciplined, fearsome conquest. The Jin, Xia, proud kingdoms fell, one by one, beneath the Mongols' relentless, crushing advance. Now, their gaze turned south, towards China's heart, the last jewel in their conquering crown. Cities, once impregnable, crumbled, walls breached by arrows, fire, and sheer, fearsome, unyielding will. They learned quickly, adapting technologies. Song innovations turned against their creators, a cruel, bitter twist. Small acts of courage, desperate stands, flickered like dying embers, refusing to be extinguished, not yet. A sense of weariness, an outcome foretold, settled heavy. The end drew ever closer, a somber truth. Their empire's map, once vast, now shrank, a fading echo of its former glorious self. Then, the unthinkable, Linan, beloved capital, fell. A dynasty's heart surrendered, silently, heartbreakingly. A child emperor barely old enough became captive, an empire's weight upon tiny, fragile shoulders. A flicker of defiance remained. The loyal few fled south, carrying hope on tumultuous open seas. Two young boys, brothers, on a ship, comforting each other, gazing at the endless ocean. The sea, once their ally, protector, now their only refuge, their final watery defense. Even Mongols, sons of steppe, turned fierce gaze to sea, building a navy from nothing. They conscripted, commanded, transforming land warriors into seafarers. A fearsome, unfamiliar armada was born. Across the wide blue expanse, the chase began, a desperate flight, pursued by relentless foes. Fear, exhaustion, but also stubborn hope. A spirit refusing to yield, even in this dark hour. The vast ancient empire was almost theirs. Only this final fleeting resistance remained. And so, to Yamen they came. A remote bay, final, desperate struggle against impossible odds. The Song, once mighty, watched their world shrink. A relentless shadow consumed their very heartland. Each distant peak, each winding river, once home, now lay beyond their reach, a fading memory. The borders, once proud and vast, tightened like a noose, leaving little room for breath. Footsteps echoed in silent villages, a testament to hasty flight, to lives uprooted from all they knew. The sky wept with them, mirroring the heavy hearts that carried their fading hope southward, ever onward. Loyalty, a flickering candle in the gathering dark, guided their weary steps toward an unknown tomorrow. Innocence, burdened by a legacy of loss, clung desperately to the hands that led them forward. Each step south felt heavier than the last, a journey into the fading light of their dynasty's Sunday. The land itself seemed to sigh, sensing the desperate retreat, the closing chapters of an empire's sorrow. Their world became smaller, confined to what they could carry, and the narrow sea lanes offered little solace. In their midst, a child emperor, barely a boy, bore the crushing weight of a collapsing realm. His small hand, meant for play, now held the fragile thread of his family's ancient noble lineage. The wise and weary, their counsels strained, sought solace in desperate strategies, hope slowly dimming. The dust, ever present on the horizon, was the constant shadow of their relentless, unseen pursuers always near. Each new Mongol victory was another shove, pushing them closer to the ocean's cold, vast embrace. The proud banners fell, one by one, signaling the irreversible march of an overwhelming, hungry foe. Isolation deepened. Allies vanished as the relentless tide of conquest swept all before it, leaving only them. Despair gnawed, yet something deeper, an ancient pride, still flickered in their tired eyes, unyielding always. The Child King, a symbol of their fading glory, moved through the throng, silent, observing all, knowing much. The map's red line, their remaining realm, now pressed against the unforgiving, endless sea, their final barrier. The land ended here, at the sea's raw edge, with nowhere else left for them to flee, truly cornered. Their haven was a small bay, crowded with vessels, a last fragile refuge from the impending terrible storm. The vast, indifferent ocean stretched before them, a chilling mirror of their predicament, their last desperate choice. Exhaustion was etched on every face, but beneath it, a desperate shared understanding began to bloom, an inner strength. Here at Yamen the words hung heavy. No more retreat, only this one final brave stand remains. A silent resolve hardened their gazes. This was their chosen ground, their last defiant breath, their sacred duty. The enemy gathered, a countless host on the water, the inevitable tide approaching their shores, a dreadful sight. Even the young emperor, understanding the gravity, stood ready to face the encroaching end with his people. This was not surrender, but a desperate, final assertion of their ancient, noble spirit, against all odds now, the point of no return. Here, at Yamen, the Song Dynasty would either triumph or beautifully fade away. The vast sea stretched before them, an endless canvas mirroring their spirits. A last, desperate hope flickered within. Their world was shrinking, each passing day tightening the knot of despair. But surrender was not in their hearts. They carried not just spears, but the weight of generations, the very soul of a dynasty on their shoulders. In the face of an impossible enemy, a desperate thought sparked, a daring gamble born of sheer necessity. The idea was simple, yet utterly insane: to turn their weakness into an unyielding, unbreakable strength. They would lash their scattered fleet into one colossal entity, a floating city, a bastion against the storm. Over 1,000 ships, each carrying hopes and fears, would become one vast, interdependent, unwavering fortress. Imagine, if you will, the sheer scale of it, 1,000 wooden hearts beating as one, bound by fate. These chains, forged in desperation, were more than iron. They were the sinews of their final collective resolve. Every hand, every breath, every ounce of strength poured into this monumental task. It was all they had. 1,000 ships, once individual vessels, now coalesced into a single, defiant, massive wooden island. They believed this impregnable wall would prevent the Mongol cavalry from ever setting foot on their decks. Life, in its stubborn way, continued on these floating timbers, fragile blossoms in a garden of grim resolve. They built not just a fortress, but a symbol, a testament to the unyielding spirit of a dying dynasty. The logistical nightmare was immense, yet fueled by a desperate hope, they pushed past all human limits. Food, water, medicine, every precious commodity had to be carefully gathered, stored, and then rationed. This floating fortress was their last home, their last sanctuary, their final defiant breath against oblivion. The very force of their will, like the chains themselves, held this extraordinary, desperate gamble together. It was done. 1,000 ships, now one, a testament to what despair and hope can drive men to build. For a brief, hopeful moment, they believed they had found an answer, a shield against the inevitable tide. But in their hearts, a whisper of dread, a premonition of the true challenge that was still to come. The calm before the storm, a quiet tension that settled over the bay, heavy and unnerving. Then, a change in the air, a subtle shift in the light. The enemy was coming. Like a plague of locusts, the Yuan fleet emerged, an overwhelming force, seemingly endless, silently approaching. Thousands of masts, a forest of death, slowly blotting out the horizon. It was a sight to steal one's breath. At its heart, the formidable Yuan fleet, a testament to conquerors, bearing down upon their fragile hope. They were not just warriors, they were the instrument of a vast, conquering empire, relentless and unforgiving. And leading this tide, General Zhang Hongfan, a brilliant mind, a strategist with a cruel, calculating genius. He saw not a fortress, but a cage. Not strength, but a cleverly disguised, yet fatal, vulnerability. A direct assault would be costly, perhaps even foolish. Zhang preferred a more insidious, painful method. His ships began to move, not towards, but around the floating fortress, like a hunter circling its prey. The encirclement began, a slow, methodical strangulation. The Song had built a fortress, but also a prison. They had trapped themselves. Every avenue of escape, every potential path to freedom was now sealed off. The initial relief of their fortress faded, replaced by the chilling realization they were truly isolated. No one in, no one out. The Yuan had severed their connection to the wider world and to hope. His trap was set, not with steel, but with cunning. But the ultimate weapon was yet to be revealed. The sea, their supposed haven, had become a wall, separating them from the very breath of life itself. The floating fortress, a marvel of ingenuity, possessed a critical, heartbreaking vulnerability: fresh water. Zhang knew this. He cut off every source, every river outlet. The siege began, slowly, agonizingly. The sun beat down relentlessly. Thirst became the silent, invisible enemy, creeping into every soul. The salty embrace of the ocean offered no relief. only a cruel, mocking reflection of their desperate plight. Days turned into weeks. The physical siege transformed into a torment of mind and spirit, slowly crushing all. The grip tightened, inexorably, around the Song's last hope. The floating fortress was now a waiting tomb. A silent battle of wills, of endurance, had begun. The dynasty's final act approached, shrouded in grim anticipation. The sun, relentless, beat down upon those huddled ships. A quiet dread began to seep into every soul. Fresh water, once taken for granted, became a precious, dwindling memory. Each drop, a whispered prayer. Thirst, like a slow-burning fire, parched throats and stole strength. It was a silent, agonizing siege. Then came the other enemy, insidious and unseen. A cough here, a fever there, whispered its arrival. Disease began to weave its cruel threads through the tightly packed fleet. A quiet, horrifying tapestry of suffering. The stench of sickness mingled with the salt air. Despair began to take root, deep in the hearts. Their healers, few and overwhelmed, watched their remedies fail. Hope, like the water, was running dry. Quietly, bodies were slipped into the sea's embrace. Each farewell, a painful reminder of their fading numbers. Strength, once their greatest asset, now bled away with each passing day. A silent surrender to exhaustion. The very air seemed to thicken with misery, a palpable weight pressing down, a suffocating cloak of despair. With every dry throat, with every weakening breath, the embers of hope flickered, threatening to extinguish forever. As night descended, whispers of fear drifted through the chained ships. What horrors would the dawn bring? They scanned the distant horizon, praying for a sail, a sign of help. Only endless, unforgiving sea met their gaze. The silence itself became a torment, amplifying every unspoken fear. It was a suffocating, echoing void. Children's cries, once easily soothed, now seemed to hang in the air, uncomforted. A sound of profound innocence lost. Even the commanders, usually stoic, bore the heavy weight of worry, their faces etched with impossible choices. The immense burden of responsibility pressed upon them. Their every decision carried the fate of an empire. Dreams of home, of family, of green earth, felt impossibly distant. Fading memories, almost tangible. Apathy, a cruel cousin to despair, began to creep in. The will to simply exist, slowly draining. The will to fight, once so strong, was now eroding. A slow, heartbreaking surrender to helplessness. The cold grip of despair tightened with each passing hour, a chill that no sun could ever truly warm. They felt utterly forgotten, lost to the world, a tiny, fragile remnant clinging to a fading hope. Then, on the distant horizon, the Yuan fleet emerged, a menacing, ever-growing line against the morning light. The sheer number of enemy masts was staggering, overwhelming, a sea of hostile intent stretching endlessly. A crushing 10-1, they said, a number that spoke of utter hopelessness, of an impossible battle. Overlapping sails on the horizon, a relentless tide of their foe. The sheer scale was beyond comprehension. They felt like a tiny island, adrift in a vast, hostile ocean, surrounded with no escape in sight. The enemy, sensing weakness, grew bolder with each passing day, their confidence a bitter pill to swallow. At night, their campfires lit the distant shore, a constant reminder. They watched, they waited, they knew. There was no escape, no way through the iron ring, trapped like fish in a tightening net. The overwhelming reality of their situation settled like a shroud, a heavy, undeniable truth for all. Every glance at the horizon, a fresh wave of despair. The enemy's strength felt truly insurmountable. Their numerical disadvantage wasn't just a statistic. It was a living, breathing, terrifying presence. Then came the probing attacks, small boats testing their defenses. Mosquito bites, but relentless and wearing. Brief clashes erupted, sharp and sudden, then faded. Little battles that chipped away at their resolve. The constant thud of arrows against wood, a persistent, chilling drumbeat, a relentless psychological torture. Defenders grew weary, their watch endless, their rest disturbed. The cost of constant alertness was immense. Each skirmish, however small, drained their dwindling spirit. A slow, agonizing bleed of courage. The slow, relentless chipping away of morale was profound. It was a siege not just of ships, but of souls. And then a new whisper arrived, carried on the changing winds. The sky itself seemed to darken. The wind's breath changed, cooler and more insistent. A restless stirring from the vast ocean itself. Seasoned sailors looked up, their eyes reflecting unease. The signs were there for those who could read. A distant rumble, faint but unmistakable, whispered of thunder. The elements too were gathering their strength. Two storms were now approaching, one of man, one of nature. Both promised an ending for those trapped within. The sea, vast and indifferent, often cradles our stories, holding ancient echoes within its depths. Here, at Yamen, destiny gathered. A proud dynasty braced for its final, tumultuous confrontation. They knew what was coming. A storm of men, far more relentless than any ocean tempest. The Yuan, like a dark tide, surged forward, their numbers an overwhelming, terrifying promise. From every compass point, the Yuan assault began, a relentless, coordinated, tightening embrace. Their strategy was clear: overwhelm, engulf, leaving no avenue for escape or hope. Fire arrows rained down, searing trails against the gray sky, igniting fear in every heart. Wooden decks became kindling, small fires quickly growing, adding to the suffocating chaos. Then came the hooks, iron claws reaching, pulling the two fated fleets inescapably together. Thousands of Yuan warriors waited, a wave of steel and fury poised to surge forth. Each hook was a silent promise of close combat, a chilling prelude to the inevitable. The air hummed with death, filled with the hiss of arrows and the crackle of flame. They breached defenses, a relentless tide of humanity now spilling onto the Song ships. Grappling hooks pulled ships close, the vital gap between vessels now narrowing menacingly. Smoke billowed, a mournful shroud obscuring the sun, trapping them in twilight's grasp. The Yuan ships, countless and grim, now latched onto the Song formation, sealing fate. Like an ant colony, they swarmed, an unstoppable force, covering every inch of deck. The Song loyalists, though gravely outnumbered, fought fiercely with the fury of trapped animals. Here, on these bloodied wooden decks, history's final, brutal chapter was fiercely written. The incessant clash of steel, a mournful symphony, echoed the Empire's tragic end. Flames licked at the mastheads, a beacon of destruction marking the Song's last stand. A horrific dance of death unfolded, raw and unforgiving, across the bloodied waters. No quarter was given, none expected. Only the primal will to survive truly remained. Courage, defiant and pure, bloomed amidst the carnage, a testament to their spirit. The ships, once safe havens, became stages for a desperate, final, bloody ballet. Inch by agonizing inch, the Song lines slowly buckled, their strength ebbing away. Each fallen warrior left behind a profound, silent echo, a life extinguished too soon. The sun watched, muted by smoke, as a proud legacy faded into the twilight. The sound of steel on steel, a relentless, grating chorus, echoing their demise. Screams pierced the air, sharp and desperate, lost in the din of brutal war. Smoke choked their lungs, blurred their vision, a tangible representation of sheer despair. The entire chained fleet, now under siege, became engulfed in smoke and pervasive fire. Yet, they fought on, not for victory but for honor, for one final defiant breath. Their courage was a flickering candle against a raging gale, beautiful and fragile. The tattered banner, a silent witness, bravely flew high, marking their unwavering loyalty. The Yuan's brilliance lay in their relentless, disciplined focus, exploiting every Song weakness. Their disciplined advance, a relentless tide of iron and will, proved truly insurmountable. The chains meant to protect now bound them, forming a literal, inescapable death trap. Fire spread mercilessly, devouring all hope. transforming the fleet into a pyre. Amidst this terror, a young emperor, a mere child, understood little of his fate. Lu Xiufu, his heart heavy, knew the bitter taste of utter, complete defeat. His duty, his deep loyalty, now dictated a final, heart-wrenching, ultimate sacrifice. Together, they plunged into the cold, unforgiving sea, choosing eternal freedom in oblivion. The Song Dynasty ended, not with a whimper, but with a profound, tragic, watery silence. The storm had passed. A chilling calm settled over the waters, a silence far heavier than any roar of war. Victorious ships now navigated a field of ghosts. Their crews bore witness to a silence that spoke volumes of loss. No cheers echoed, only the soft lapping of waves against hulls. Victory, bought with such sacrifice, felt hollow now. The once proud Song fleet was reduced to fragments, scattered memories upon the indifferent tide. A kingdom unraveling. This vast expanse, once a battlefield, now stretched as an open wound. The world felt terribly, irrevocably broken. Then, a chilling sight emerged from the mist. A single form, silent, floating. The first whisper of true tragedy. The victors watched, their faces etched with a grim comprehension. This was not merely defeat, this was something more profound. Upon their sinking ships, the loyalists of Song made their final heartbreaking choices. Their dynasty, now just a fading dream. No desperate pleas, no frantic cries, only quiet resolve in their eyes, a shared, solemn understanding of what lay ahead. A final embrace, a last soft touch. Love, even in its ending, bound them tightly. Their world's end arrived. They chose the cold embrace of the sea over the harsh reality of subjugation, a final, heartbreaking act of defiance. The ocean's surface closed quietly around them. Each ripple, a silent farewell, their final journey, embraced. Tens of thousands followed, a silent, somber procession. Their loyalty, an unyielding tide, carried them to eternity. Families, warriors, scholars, all bound by a single, profound truth. Death, chosen freely, was their final freedom. The sea, once their barrier, became their sanctuary. A vast, watery grave, holding history's final breath. The horror expanded, painting the sea with stillness. A silent testament to a loyalty so absolute it defied conquerors. The sea became a colossal tomb. Its silent occupants, unwilling subjects, chose dignity over submission. Even hardened warriors bore witness, humbled by this profound act. A silent question lingered. What kind of loyalty? The weight of devotion, heavier than any armor, carried them beyond reach. A final, unshakable stand. A tattered flag, a dynasty's last whisper, slowly descended. The dream of Song faded into history's deep currents. Wreckage and souls intertwined, adrift in eternity. The sea held their stories, their unwavering spirit, forevermore. The great sea stretched, now a vast, silent testament. It bore witness to the absolute, heartbreaking finality of their defeat. And so, the sun set on the Song dynasty. Their echoes, a profound silence, lingered upon the vast, empty sea. The echoes of battle fade, leaving behind a silence vast and profound. A new dawn breaks. Yamen was more than a battle. It was the final, irreversible punctuation mark of an era. Here, on these very waters, the great Song dynasty met its last, sorrowful breath. A dynasty, once so vibrant, now slipped beneath the waves, never to truly rise again. Across the vast lands, the Mongol banners now flew unchallenged, a testament to their relentless will. The Dragon Throne, for centuries held by native hands, now embraced a new, formidable master. From the north, the Yuan Dynasty emerged, carving its name into the very fabric of history. A new era began, one shaped by the incredible vision and might of the Mongol Khans. For the first time, in over 3 centuries, China found itself whole, under a single rule. And for the first time, that unifying hand belonged not to a native, but a foreign power. A profound shift indeed, in a land steeped in millennia of its own rich cultural heritage. Yet, what of the Song? Their spirit, their contributions could never truly be erased. They left us a legacy of unparalleled beauty, innovation, and profound humanistic thought. Their scholars, artists, and engineers pushed boundaries, enriching the world in countless, quiet ways. Their fall, heartbreaking as it was, underscores the fragility of even the greatest empires. The loyalty shown at Yamen, desperate and unwavering, burns brightly in memory's eternal flame. It became a symbol, a testament to courage, even in the face of inevitable, crushing defeat. History, my friend, is an ocean. Its tides are vast, powerful, and utterly relentless. What does this epic conflict truly teach us about change, loss, and endurance? Does it tell us of fate's cruel hand, or humanity's enduring, unbreakable spirit? Perhaps it reminds us that even in endings, new beginnings are always quietly, profoundly born. The past whispers its lessons, if only we take the time to truly listen, to truly feel. And so, the story of Yamen, a testament to time's passage, gently concludes its ancient telling. And so, friends, we reach the quiet shores of memory, where a dynasty's last breath echoes still. Yamen wasn't just a battle, it was a profound testament to history's relentless, unyielding currents. Generations would feel the weight of that day, a somber turning point for a people. It reminds us how swiftly empires can vanish, swallowed by the ceaseless march of time. The 10-to-1 odds, an impossible challenge, yet faced with a desperate, heartbreaking courage. These stories are not just dates and names, they are the beating heart of humanity's journey. To witness such a profound end is to understand the fragility of even the grandest designs. Their legacy, etched not in stone, but in the quiet, enduring spirit of memory itself. If this quiet recounting of Yamen's last stand touched something within your own spirit, if it stirred the deep currents of your curiosity for stories untold, please consider this. A simple gesture, a like, helps these profound whispers of history reach more kindred souls. Subscribing helps our little community grow, nurturing new seeds of understanding together, always. And tell us, in the quiet space below, what other forgotten battles stir your imagination? Let's explore together, guided by wonder, delving deeper into humanity's incredible, endless narrative.